Hello everybody and welcome back to another video here on the one and only Tribal Warrior YouTube channel. And of course I am the Tribal Warrior, and in today's video, as you see by the thumbnail and as you see by the title, we will be discussing the most recent shocking 15 WWE releases that took place this past Friday. So of course, it's that time of year again where several superstars are unfortunately released from the company. Now, as I'm aware, there is 15 WWE superstars who were released. However, there were more than this. Now, this is WWE management I'm talking about. These weren't quite superstars who were released as well. So we had 15 superstars who were released, but we also had about 5-10 management side of things that were released. We're not going to talk about the management side because, of course, we wouldn't know them really. They're just not bookers, but taking charge of things backstage. So we're not going to talk about them, but we are going to talk about the 15 WWE superstars who were unfortunately released 2 days ago. So who we're going to talk about first is actually three men, and they were actually a part of a faction, and this whole faction unfortunately dismantled. The faction that I am talking about are Gallus. These, of course, were most famous in NXT UK, and of course, they were most recently competing at WWE Evolve. Gallus included brothers Joe Coffey and Mark Coffey, and it also included Wolfgang. First, we're going to take a look at Mark Coffey. Mark Coffey, he's a former NXT UK Tag Team Champion. As I mentioned, a member of Gallus. He also held the NXT UK Heritage Cup Championship at one point in his career as well. On the other side of things with Joe Coffey, he's also a former NXT UK Tag Team Champion, and of course a member of Gallus. The third member of this group, Wolfgang, a former NXT Tag Team Champion and a former NXT UK Tag Team Champion. During this whole video, we'll be talking about these superstars and their resumes in the company, as I just mentioned, with all three members of Gallus. This is a unfortunate time for Gallus, as I do hope they will find their ways, either if they make it to AEW, New Japan, or even TNA. Another superstar who was unfortunately released was NXT's Riley Osborne. Riley didn't do much in the company, as he really didn't get a chance to do really anything. He was only in the company for, I don't even know how long, but it definitely wasn't that long. The last match I can remember him competing in was against Oro Mensah at WWE Evolve. I think that was the first few weeks of Evolve getting started, and then after there, he kind of went downhill. His most memorable time in WWE was when he was a part of the faction Chase U. As we've seen on the past few episodes of NXT, Chase U has reunited. They are now back together, thankfully. I do not see how they just couldn't put Riley back in that faction. That could have done him way much better, but these releases are most likely due to budget cuts, and since Riley wasn't a huge star, like a household name, I'm guessing he's just gone for that reason. Thank you, Riley Osborne. As I just mentioned a few seconds ago, with Riley's last match being Oro Mensah, Ora or Oro was also one of the names that were named in the unfortunate bunch of releases too. This was one of the most up there for shocking releases. I wouldn't say it's a all-time shocker because he obviously wasn't a major star in the company. He has done some memorable stuff, especially in NXT UK, but he's also a great man for NXT. We've seen the faction metaphor dismantle a couple of episodes ago on NXT when they all reunited, which was Jakara Jackson, Noam Dar, of course, Ora Mensa, and Lash Legend. They all reunited. They said, "Well done, but we're going to go to our different paths now." And unfortunately, Mensa's different path is leaving the WWE. As I mentioned, he was a member of the team Metaphor, and he was also a former NXT UK Tag Team Champion. As I mentioned a couple of seconds ago about Metaphor, the four members in that group have now been down to two. Lash Legend and Noam Dar are the only two superstars a part of Metaphor that still work with WWE. Because I now can also confirm that Jakara Jackson was a part of the WWE releases this past Friday. Jakara, of course, her name was in the group of Metaphor, and she also made her main roster debut with Lash Legend on October 11th, 2023 on SmackDown. Jakara, she was fun to watch, always funny. She always had this lollipop with her. Doesn't matter what flavor, she always had a different type of one. She had a contraption to like an engineering thing to open it up, which was quite cool. And yeah, it is kind of unfortunate to see Jakara go. Another superstar who was released was Javier Bernal. I might be pronouncing this wrong, unfortunately, but I don't actually know this man quite well. Of course, I have seen some of his matches and he has been in NXT for a good while. I do remember him in NXT 2.0 and he didn't have a five-star career. He did make his debut in 2021 and that's really his only main achievement in the WWE. And it's sad to see this guy go. I did watch a couple of his highlights after I heard of his release just to find more out about him because of course this is budget cuts. I'm guessing like they're not going to release someone like Roman Reigns. They're going to release someone on a lower level, and Bernal is on that lower level, unfortunately. So thanks, Bernal. I wish he could have done more, but who knows where he could go to now. Maybe he could go to TNA and have a five-star career there. You never know. But yeah, Javier Bernal is no longer working with WWE. So now the final few superstars we're going to talk about are kind of the biggest names in these. They have more of a successful career and they were really out there. They're really good superstars and they had a lot of rememberable moments. Like this guy, Eddie Thorpe. He has had a great career. He's done so much. He won a Iron Survivor Last Chance qualifier. He had a fantastic feud with Obafemi and Trick Williams. I can remember one of his last great feuds was with Trick Williams in that strap match, I think it was, or was it maybe against Ethan Page? I think it was Trick Williams, but Eddie Thorpe, he is undefeated. He has an undefeated streak in NXT Underground, which is a huge achievement for him. And he was a really good superstar. I do not know why they could have let Eddie go like this. This is definitely shocking. I actually didn't see this one coming out of any of the others, and he's one of those guys that were getting a huge push by Shawn Michaels and Triple H in NXT, and then after that it was just lost. It was gone, and I don't really see they could have just kept that push going, and like I could have seen him in a feud. We could even had a main roster talent come down to NXT for a bit and just had a cool feud with him, and then maybe Eddie could have got drafted up. But I don't know. These things unfortunately happen. So Eddie, he did have a great career, and he's one of these NXT superstars that got released that actually had a great career. As I mentioned, his resume there a few seconds ago, and I don't remember him holding any championships, like for example, like a big huge NXT wow, like 5-star championship. Don't remember anything great like that. Don't think he won the Heritage Cup championship, but he definitely did have a good career in NXT and WWE. Now, this next one is definitely the most shocking by far. The monster of all men, Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman was released by the WWE before, and then he came back, and ever since then, he had a great feud with Bronson Reed. And then after that feud, it kind of went downhill from there. We didn't really see him on TV, and I like his best moments in his career was honestly from 2017 to 2021. Like he's done so much there. And in 2018, he won the greatest Royal Rumble. In 2020, he was a former WWE Universal Champion, which was wow. He was one of the last few Universal Champions. He was a former Intercontinental Champion in 2022 and in 2020, and he also was a Raw Tag Team Champion. I remember him being a tag team with Nicholas, I think it was, that won the titles at WrestleMania, pulled a fan out of the crowd, which was quite funny and unique. So yeah, I'm really shocked that Braun Strowman's gone, and I honestly didn't want him to go like this, so this is very unfortunate, and hopefully he could make a comeback someday, but if not, I wish him the best in his future. Unfortunately, next up on the list is NXT's Gigi Dolan. Gigi is a former NXT, actually, correct myself, is a former 2-time NXT Tag Team Champion. She also formed a tag team earlier this year with Tatum, Paxley, and Shotzi. And sorry, before I continue on, speaking of Shotzi, there is rumors about Shotzi leaving WWE. She has been moved to the aluminium section, probably not pronouncing it right, of the WWE roster. And I'm pretty sure they will not be renewing her contract. I didn't put her on this list because she wasn't officially released. However, think she will be by the end of this month, as WWE won't be renewing her contract, unfortunately. But yeah, back onto Gigi Dolan. As I mentioned, former 2-time NXT tag team. She formed a tag team with Tatum Paxley and Shotzi. So yeah, unfortunately, we have to say goodbye to Miss Gigi Dolan. Our next superstar, or sorry, as I should correct myself, superstars on this list is actually a tag team. The team of Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. Kaden and Katana were a tag team. They started off in NXT like most superstars and then made their way up to the main roster. They were former NXT Tag Team Champions. They drafted to Monday Night Raw in 2023. They also held the WWE Tag Team Championships. And then earlier this year, they switched to Friday Night SmackDown. Of course, this year in 2025. Can't believe these are gone. It is unfortunate. However, as I mentioned earlier, this is like budget cuts, I think it is. They're hardly going to release someone like Roman Reigns. They're releasing lower talents like these. When these two come out to the ring, there's not as much aura for them as there would be for CM Punk or Jey Uso or Charlotte Flair, like someone like them. These were not hated, I wouldn't say. I liked them. Their entrance music was cool. There's nothing wrong with the wrestling at all. And yeah, it's just unfortunate. It's just another one of them names you have to throw out there for budget cuts because they weren't at the level they should have been. And that's not their fault. That is really creative's fault. And same for other superstars in this list, like Shayna Baszler or like Gigi Dolan. It's kind of creative's fault. So yeah, goodbye to the tag team of Kaden, Carter, and Katana Chance. And now on to our final 3 superstars on this list, which also could be the most shocking. So as you've seen right in front of you, if you're looking at the video, it says Shayna Baszler, Of course, the Queen of Spades. She's really done actually so much in the WWE, and these last three superstars, which I'm about to mention, including Shayna, actually have done lots in WWE. And in 2018 or 2020, don't remember which one it was, but Shayna was a former NXT Women's Champion, which of course is a huge achievement. She also was a former WWE Tag Team Champion with Nia Jax. She also held the titles again a couple of years ago with Ronda Rousey, of course, former UFC fighter. So yeah, it is unfortunate to see Shayna go, and I mean it's just like creative, isn't it? Pure Fusion Collective, she was most recently a part of the tag team. There's three superstars in that group: Zoe Stark, Sonya Deville, and of course Shayna. Then Sonya got released. Now Shayna got released, and hopefully Zoe stays. And Zoe's the last member of Pure Fusion Collective. So like I don't think they're gonna be calling her by that anymore, unfortunately. So yeah, Shayna's done a lot in the company. It's unfortunate to see her go. Just like Braun Strowman and some of the big names, I hope she comes back one day, and maybe even if you didn't have an idea for her, send her to NXT, have a good run. Even if she lost the match to Julia, it won't be that big of a deal. Just keep building her up and getting momentum. Of course, I know you can't push every single superstar, but someone like Shayna, you could have simply pushed. Here you see on the list, this is our final NXT superstar. It's our second last release, unfortunately, and it's Cora Jade. Cora, former NXT Tag Team Champion with the team of Roxanne Perez. She also had a notable feud with Roxanne as well, and this is very, very unfortunate. So yeah, as I just mentioned, Cora, released by the WWE, it was extremely unfortunate and sad for her fans. She was a young and talented wrestler who brought lots of energy and excitement to the ring. Many kids looked up to her and loved watching her fight with passion and confidence, even though she's no longer with the WWE. We'll always remember her cool moves, her strong spirit, and just what she brought to the WWE and the company itself. So yeah, we will really miss Cora Jade. Yeah, and this one too is the craziest. But before we get to this one in front of you, I just want to make a quick point on the last superstar we talked about, Miss Cora Jade. I just want to make a quick prediction. I think she's gonna go to TNA. Just making that clear. She is gonna go to TNA and have a great career there, and then WWE is going to be sad that she is gone. Just saying. So yes, Dakota Kai. This is the most saddest one on the list, in my opinion. Dakota, she was literally my prediction to win the NXT Women's Intercontinental Championship. WWE should have honestly just put this title on Dakota. It would have made so much sense. And then made Lyra lose the championship, and then Lyra had a feud with Becky. That could have been the way for Lyra, and then the championship would have been the way for Dakota. I'm actually so sad at this. Like, Dakota was one of actually my favorite female WWE superstars. She's done so much. Of course, she was a member of Damage Control. She was a two-time tag team champion, of course, with Io Sky. She was also a two-time NXT tag team champion with Raquel Rodriguez, formerly known as Gonzalez, and she also won the first ever female Dusty Rhodes Cup with Raquel Rodriguez. Listen to that. Listen. Dakota Kai deserves more. She has so much on her resume. She's done so much. Remember, Damage Control was obviously something huge. She was released and then she was brought back for Damage Control. I'm actually so sad about this. Just WWE, bring her back. Come on, we need to start something like hashtag bring Kota back. That's what we need to do. So yes, thankfully that is the end of the video, and thankfully that is all the releases I have to talk about today. There were so many releases that I went through, unfortunately, and I just wish the best for these superstars in the future. I'm just going to run through them again just to make a recap. So yeah, as I just mentioned, unfortunately, as you see in front of you, Miss Dakota Kai. We also had Cora Jade, Shayna Baszler, the team of Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, NXT's Gigi Dolan, Braun Strowman, Eddie Thorpe, Javier Bernal, the team of Jakara Jackson and Oro Mensah, Riley Osborne, and all three members of Gallus, Wolfgang, Joe Coffey, and unfortunately, Mark Coffey. Thank you to all 15 of these superstars. They had a great company. They were having a great career. Hopefully they don't stop wrestling. Hopefully they keep going. Look for new companies, even if it is in the indie scene. Work your way back. As John Cena said, never give up. Thank you guys for watching this video. I will see you in the next video, which most likely will be next. Sorry, the video cut off there. Don't know why. But yeah, as I was saying, the next video will most likely be next weekend, which is WWE Backlash already. Things are flying in. My last video was last weekend when I done my WrestleMania recap, which was an hour long. Barely anybody watched it, which is very understandable because I don't think anybody's going to listen to me for an hour, and I don't know if anybody is going to be watching this video now. If you are watching this video, if you're listening to me right now saying these words, comment down below free Kodakai or hashtag bring back Kodak. Comment down below so I know you're watching, and if you are, I'm extremely grateful. You guys mean so much for me. Keep watching the videos. I will see you next time, and with that being said, remember to always, always stay tribal.